Top of the day, beautiful people. Top of the day. Betwabu. Tiffany Betwabu. I promise you I ain't gonna run my mouth today. We're gonna get through this reading. It is Friday, beautiful people. Another Friday. Like, these weeks are going by so fast. It feels like I was just saying it's Friday yesterday. Like, this week, I don't know where this week has gone to, but it is Friday. January 20, and we're literally at the end of the month. January 24th, 2020, day 54 of year 2 of reading through the book of instructions and the prophets. All right, we're in Deuteronomy 7, 8, and 9 today. So let's hop to it, people. All right. When Yahuwah thy God shall bring thee into the land whither thou goest to possess it, and hath cast out many nations before thee, the Hittites and the Girgashites and the Amorites and the Canaanites and the Perizzites and the Hivites and the Jebusites, 7 nations greater and mightier than thou. And when Yahuwah thy God shall deliver thee from before them, thou shalt smite them and utterly destroy them. Thou shalt make no covenant with them, nor show mercy unto them. Neither shalt thou make marriages with them. Thy daughter thou shalt not give unto his son, nor his daughter shalt thou not take unto thy son, for they will turn away thy son from following thee, that they may serve other gods. So the anger of Yahuwah will be kindled against you and destroy thee suddenly. That's why he didn't want us to mix and mingle with the other nations, because they didn't serve him. And when you mingled with them, they turned you away from him. But thus shall ye deal with them. Ye shall destroy their altars and break down their images and cut down their groves and burn their graven images with fire. For thou art a holy people unto Yahuwah thy God. For Yahuwah thy God hath chosen thee to be a special people unto himself above all people upon the face of the earth. Bella, don't do that. Stop. Wait for this. Almost done. No. Go ahead. You can taste it. Yahuwah did not set his love upon you, nor choose you, because you were more in number than any people, for ye were fewest of all people. But because Yahuwah loved you, and because he would keep the oath which he had sworn unto your fathers, that Yahuwah hath brought you out with a mighty hand and redeemed you out of the house of bondmen from the hand of Pharaoh the king of Egypt. This little tiny lady in here with me.
Mom, don't strawberries.
Okay, I get strawberries in a second. Know therefore that Yahuwah thy God, he is God, the faithful God, which keepeth the covenant and mercy with them that love him, and keep his commandments to 1,000 generations, and repayeth them that hate him to their face, and destroy them. He will not be slack to him that hateth him, he will repay him to his face. Thou shalt therefore keep the commandments and the statutes and the judgments which I command thee this day to do them. Wherefore it shall come to pass, if ye hearken to these judgments and keep and do them, that Yahuwah thy God shall keep thee unto the covenant and mercy which he sware unto thy fathers. And he will love thee and bless thee and multiply thee. He will also bless the fruit of thy womb and the fruit of thy land, thy corn and thy wine and the oil and the increase of thy kine, and the flocks of thy sheep in the land which he sware unto thy fathers to give to thee. Thou shalt be blessed above all people. There shall not be male or female barren among you, or any among your cattle. For Yahuwah will take away from thee all sickness, and will put none of these evil diseases of Egypt, which thou knowest, upon thee, but will lay them upon all them that hate thee. And thou shalt consume all the people which Yahuwah thy God shall deliver thee. Thine eyes shall have no pity upon them, neither shalt thou serve thy gods, for they will be a snare unto thee. If thou shalt say in thy heart, these nations are more than I, how can I dispossess them? Thou shalt not be afraid of them, but thou shalt well remember what Yahuwah thy God did unto Pharaoh and unto all of Egypt, the great temptations which thine eyes saw, and the sign and the wonders and the mighty hand and the stretched out arm, whereby Yahuwah thy God brought thee out. So shall Yahuwah thy God do unto all the people of whom thou art afraid. Moreover, Yahuwah thy God will send the hornet among them, until they that are left and hide themselves from thee be destroyed. Thou shalt not be affrighted at them, for Yahuwah thy God is among you, a mighty God and terrible. And Yahuwah thy God will put those nations before thee, will put out those nations before thee little by little. Thou mayest not consume them at once, lest the beasts in the field increase upon thee. But Yahuwah thy God shall deliver them unto thee, and shall destroy them with a mighty destruction until they be destroyed. And he shall deliver their kings into thy hand, and thou shalt destroy their name from under heaven. There shall no man be able to stand before thee until thou have destroyed them. Yes, baby.
Yeah, that hurts me.
Okay, you'll be okay. Just be careful. The graven images of their God ye shall burn with fire. Thou shalt not desire the silver or gold that is on them, nor take it unto thee, lest thou be snared therein. For it is an abomination unto Yahuwah thy God. Neither shalt thou bring an abomination into thine houses, lest thou be a cursed thing like it. But thou shalt utterly detest it, and thou shalt utterly arbor it, for it is a cursed thing. Deuteronomy chapter 8. All the commandments which I command thee this day shall ye do to observe, that ye may live and multiply, and go in and possess the land which Yahuwah sware to give unto your fathers. And thou shalt remember all the way which Yahuwah thy God led thee these 40 years in the wilderness, to humble thee and to prove thee, and to know what was in thine heart, whether thou would keep his commandments or not. And he humbled thee, and suffered thee to hunger, and fed thee with manna which thou knewest not, neither did thy fathers know, that he might make thee know that man doth not live by bread only, but by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of Yahuwah doth man live. Yes.
Cereal.
Wait a minute, Bella. Thy raiment waxed not old upon thee, neither did thy foot swell these 40 years. Thou shalt also consider in thine heart that as a man chasteneth his son, so Yahuwah thy God chasteneth thee. Therefore thou keep the commandments of Yahuwah thy God, and walk in his ways to fear him. For Yahuwah thy God bringeth thee into a good land, a land of brooks of water, of fountains and depths that springs out of valleys and hills, a land of wheat and barley and vines and fig trees and pomegranates, a land of olive oil and honey, a land wherein thou shalt eat bread without scarceness, that thou shalt not lack anything in it, and whose stones are iron, and out of those whose hills mayest dig brass. When thou hast eaten and art full, then thou shalt bless Yahuwah thy God for the good land which he hath given thee. Beware that thou forget not Yahuwah thy God, and not keeping his commandments and his judgments and his statutes which I command thee this day. Lest when thou hast eaten and art full, and hast built goodly houses and dwelt therein, and when thy herds and thy flocks multiply, and thy silver and thy gold is multiplied, and all that thou hast is multiplied, then thine heart be lifted up, and thou forget Yahuwah thy God, which brought thee forth out of the land of Egypt, from the house of bondage, who led thee through a great and terrible wilderness, wherein were fiery serpents and scorpions and drought, where there was no water, who brought thee forth water out of the rock of flint, who fed thee in the wilderness with manna which thy fathers knew not, that he might humble thee, and that he might prove thee to do thee good in thy latter end. And thou shalt say in thine heart, my power and might of mine have gotten me this wealth. But thou shalt remember Yahuwah thy God, for it is he that giveth thee power to get wealth, that he may establish his covenant which he sware unto thy fathers, as it is unto this day. And it shall be, if thou do at all forget Yahuwah thy God, and walk after other gods, and serve them, and worship them, I testify against you this day that ye shall surely perish. As the nations which Yahuwah destroyed before your face, so shall ye perish, because ye would not be obedient to the voice of Yahuwah your God. All right, y'all, last chapter for today, Deuteronomy chapter 9. It's pretty short, only 29 verses. Hear, O Israel, thou art passed over Jordan this day, to go in to possess the nations greater and mightier than thyself, cities great and fenced up to heaven, and people great and tall, and the children of the Anakims who thou knowest, and of whom thou hast heard say, who can stand before the children of Anak? Understand therefore unto this day that Yahuwah thy God is he which goeth over before thee, as a consuming fire, he shall destroy them. And he shall bring them down before thy face. So shall thou drive them out and destroy them quickly, as Yahuwah has said unto thee. Speak not thou in thine heart after that Yahuwah thy God cast them out from before thee, saying, For my righteousness of Yahuwah have brought me into possess this land, but for the wickedness of these nations Yahuwah doth drive them out before thee. Not for thy righteousness. Excuse me, y'all. I need a sip of water. Boy. Remember and forget. I'm sorry, I gotta go with one. Understand that Yahuwah thy God hath not given thee this good land to possess it for thy righteousness, for thou art a stiff-necked people. Remember and forget not how thou provoked Yahuwah thy God to wrath in the wilderness, from the day that thou did depart out of the land of Egypt, until ye came unto this place. Ye have been rebellious against Yahuwah. Also in Horeb ye provoked Yahuwah to wrath, so that Yahuwah was angry with you to have destroyed you. When I was going up into the mount, When I was going up into the mount to receive the tables of stones, even the tables of the covenant which Yahuwah made with you, then I abode in the mount 40 days and 40 nights. Neither did I eat bread nor drink water. For Yahuwah delivered unto me 2 tablets of stones written with the finger of Yah, and on them was written according to all the words which Yahuwah spake with you in the mount, out of the midst of the fire in the day of the assembly. And it came to pass at the end of the 40 days and 40 nights that Yahuwah gave me 2 tables of stone, even the tables of the covenant. And Yahuwah said unto me, okay, wait a minute, hold on, y'all. Okay, I got you.
Mom, let's sit down right here.
Sit right, hop up, side.
Right here.
Okay. Don't spill it. It's hot. All right. Sorry. Okay. Verse 12. And Yahuwah said unto me, Arise, get thee down quickly from hence, for thy people which thou hast brought forth out of Egypt have corrupted themselves. They are quickly turned aside out of the way which I commanded them. They have made them a molten image. Furthermore, Yahuwah spake unto me, saying, I have seen this people, and behold, it is a stiff-necked people. Let me alone that I may destroy them and blot out their name from under heaven, and I will make thee a nation. I will make of thee a nation mightier and greater than they. So I turned and came down from the mount, and the mount burned with fire, and the 2 tables of the covenant were in my 2 hands. And I looked, and behold, ye had sinned against Yahuwah your God, and had made a molten calf. Ye had turned aside quickly out of the way which Yahuwah had commanded you. I took the 2 tables and cast them out of my hands and brake them before your eyes. And I fell down before Yahuwah as at the first 40 days and 40 nights. I did neither eat bread nor drink water, because of all your sins which ye sinned in doing wickedly in the sight of Yahuwah to provoke him to anger. For I was afraid of the anger and hot displeasure wherewith Yahuwah was wroth against you to destroy you. But Yahuwah hearkened unto me at that time also. And Yahuwah was very angry with Aaron to have destroyed him. And I prayed for Aaron also the same time. What did you put that on, Tim? How long did you put that on? That looks hard. I mean, I just realized it from the time I went over there to get her a bowl that was going in the microwave. Yeah.
It's not hard.
Okay. And I took your sin, the calf which he had made, and burned it with fire, and stamped it, and ground it very small, even until it was as small as dust. And I cast the dust thereof into the brook that descended out of the mount. And at Taberah, and at Massa, and at Kibroth Hattaavah, ye provoked Yahuwah to wrath. Likewise, when Yahuwah sent you to Kadesh Barnea, saying, Go up and to possess the land which I have given you, then ye rebelled against the commandment of Yahuwah your God, and ye believed him not, and hearkened not to his voice. Ye have been rebellious against Yahuwah from the day that I knew you. Thus I fell down before Yahuwah 40 days and 40 nights. As I fell down at the first, because Yahuwah said he would destroy you. I prayed therefore unto Yahuwah and said, O Yahuwah, destroy not thy people and thine inheritance which thou hast redeemed through thy greatness, which thou hast brought forth out of Egypt with a mighty hand. Remember thy servants, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Look not unto the stubbornness of this people, nor to their wickedness, nor to their sin, lest the land which thou bore us out, say, because Yahuwah was not able to bring them into the land which he promised them, and because he hated them, he hath brought them out to slay them in the wilderness. Yet they are a people of thine inheritance, which thou broughtest out by thy mighty power and by thy stretched out arm. And that, beautiful people, is our reading for today. We read Deuteronomy 7, 8, and 9. I did pretty good. I think we got done in, 15 minutes? I didn't run my mouth too much. All right, y'all. So let me go ahead and read this blessing, which we find in Numbers chapter 6. Yahuwah said, this is how you bless my people. You bless them like this, and I myself will come down and bless them. May Yahuwah bless us and keep us. May Yahuwah make his face to shine upon us and lift his countenance upon us and be gracious unto us, and may he give us his peace. All right, y'all. I love y'all. Enjoy your day of rest, and I will see you all Sunday morning. Peace.
Mommy.